and we are back with another Diffusion podcast episode. Today we have Luiz, founder and CEO of DUX, a financial protocol for the creative economy and the global south. Luiz, welcome, and feel free to introduce yourself.
Hey Rick, nice to be here with you. Thank you once again for the invite, and thank you for anyone who's listening this to be here with us today. So I'm Luiz, CEO and founder of DUX, as you mentioned. I've always been an entrepreneur since I'm 12 years old. Doing business is the way that I connect with the world. I started organizing parties, like renting a house and finding a DJ and just selling tickets in my school way before we could ever even sell drinks in those parties. I've done a lot during my career, worked with some big brands such as Red Bull, the UN, and a bunch of others. And I started DUX in 2020. We're doing quite different stuff than we're doing today. But we did start with the same purpose and the same view, and we kept to that. Pretty much we started as, if you start to think about Brazil, we don't have any tech companies being amongst the biggest one in the country, in the world. And the way that I saw, we had the opportunity to position Brazil, Latin, and that's the whole global South as a leader in the Web3 technologies. And I wanted to pursue that and help brands and people to better understand and onboard into this space. And we pretty much had, I would say, three phases. The first one was focused on education. We've developed education platform. We've done some courses, events, and stuff like that. And then we went to Web3 gaming, scaled quite a lot on that. We became the biggest Web3 gaming guild in Latam, got invested by Animoca brands amongst other funds. And that should be the second phase. And the third phase, which led to where we are now, is we pretty much had a new CTO coming in, and he brought his vision that we wouldn't be able to achieve the level of onboarding that we wanted because we still lacked basic infrastructure to help ordinary people to use blockchain. And to try to solve that, we developed our own wallet and APIs to easily connect Web2 use cases to Web3. And that led to where we are now, which is we started having a lot of traction with creators and creative economy. But they wanted to build use cases using blockchain, but they usually don't have even a website. Like the biggest creator you know, he probably won't have a website of his own. So it was kind of hard to use our APIs with them. We built a white label protocol to help them get leads and information from the user base using NFTs. And one thing led to another. We started researching the real problem, understood that a lot of that problem is focused on the financial restraints of the creative economy. And we got to where we are now. So yeah, like a quick recap. I think that's it. And I can speak a little more about where we are now if it's the time.
Luiz, I think DUX journey was one of the most amazing ones I've seen, not only in Brazil, but I would say Latin America. I think you're very passionate about your vision about the global South, and I share the same vision. Of course, that was the main reason I brought you here, but also the technology that you're developing is, I would say, is solving people's real life issues, especially in economies. Like when we think about Brazil and Latin America, we know how big is the population is in the digital world. So talking about social medias, but also talking about developers, designers. So it's good to emphasize that the creative economy is not just influencers and key opinion leaders. We're talking about thousands of professionals working in the digital spectrum, and that also comprehends developers, designers, like video editors, and all the sorts of intellectual, let's say, property professionals. So I believe it's awesome what you're doing. You're bringing professionalization to that. As you mentioned, not everyone else have a web page. I believe in the future that everyone becomes, in a certain way, a token. Everyone will become their own business. And it's, let's say, crucial that we have the laying ground where they can operate professionally. So I know as well, Dux has been through a tremendous journey where you had support from Animoca brands. In that sense, you had support of like big brands in Web3, and of course, you have matured a lot, and there's a lot for still to come. So, thinking about the next steps for Dux, especially in Latin America, how do you see your initiative impacting people's lives there?
Oh, thank you for the comments, Rick, and for the question also. So, giving like a sidestep and explaining a little bit more about what we're doing. So, we're using two main technologies, which is AI and blockchain. AI to solve the data issues and the risk assessment of the creators in the creative economy. So I can explain a little bit more about that. And blockchain to be able to easily connect and tokenize or transform those digital assets into assets, real assets, like limited assets where they can be traded and used in a functional economy. The way that we see it, we have two main challenges to tackle to validate our thesis in the long run. The first one is, are we able to analyze, to value, and to analyze the risk regarding the assets of the creative economy, the digital assets of the creative economy? Are we able to make a valuation of assertive valuation of a creator or a creative page, of what they produce, the money that they make, and be able to predict how they'll be going to perform in the future better than everyone else in the market? So that's the thesis one. And the second thesis that we need to solve is, considering that we get the first one, making they be able to get credit or to sell their equity or to sell their future productions. Does that money really impact the business that they have today, and the costs that they will have, like either the time or the money or the fees that they're going to have to pay to get access to that value, adds more value to their business in the long term than what they are paying for. And once we be able to do that, to say yes to both of those questions, I think being able to plug this global liquidity that searches for like a good yield into, and bring that money into Brazil, Latin, and other southern countries, can make a huge impact on both sides. The first one is being able to, of course, let that creative economy thrive and have more capital and a more structured way to grow, as you said, like the fast lane. We already like have big numbers in Brazil, for instance, like in the creative economy. Like I can tell some of them later on, but being able also to plug real world assets into the blockchain that will allow worldwide investors to get a real yield, not only speculating on like a crazy DeFi token that like some zero game, but like putting money to work to where the money will make more money, like in the real world impact. I think that's the true impacts that we want. And also there's like the third one, which is, I'm sure most of the people that are hearing us have came across a creator or a musician or an artist early on in their career, and you liked their work, and the only way that you could be exposed to the work was where you either like their Instagram content or the YouTube content, share it across, or like hear the music, and like you can't speculate and be exposed financially to the growth of that creative agent. And what we want to do is create a structured and secure mean where the fan base can get not only like following and engaging, but also be part of the business that they're supporting and they are fans of. So I think those three main challenges that we're trying to solve.
Look, this is absolutely beautiful, and I I cannot like lie and like try to hide that I get very passionate about this because I'm born in Brazil. I know all the challenges we have in our countries, and of course, when we think about the unbanked, especially, we're not talking only about people that don't have like let's say a digital bank app. We're talking about people that don't have access to credit, and of course, I think the way we have developed ourselves, we are very inclined into communities in Brazil. Yeah, because if we are not working that way, we can get nothing done because we don't have much resources. So the only way for people to get things done is to get together and cooperate. So you have a lot of crowdfunding, a lot of artists and creatives are funded by their own community, but still, like that's not ideal because the financial power is still very centralized, and I think your solution will tackle into that. So now, what kind of doors we open? Because I think there is a suppressed demand as well because we have a lot of talent. We have people willing to consume. Brazilians are huge consumers, not only Brazilians, but Latin Americans are huge consumers. But it still is a market that is not developed, let's say, until its full potential. So I believe as well that will probably let's say help for us to let's say to reach a higher market value as a whole. So how do you see the industry as well, like the GDP, the value we're able to generate as a whole will be impacted with initiatives like that?
I think like there's some layers of problems we have to solve to really get things on a higher scale on our side. I think one thing that we have to focus a lot on is on the experience that we get for both the B2B, which are considered like the creative economy, and the B2C, which is the liquidity provider. You have to make the product innovative, but the experience has to be similar or even easier to what they use it to have in traditional investments. You have to have a very good plan and execution regarding regulators because that can quickly become a problem. If like getting global liquidity and putting money all over the place, you have to have um, a very good how do you say regulatory threshold. I think it's the word, and we do get a very good sense of that in Brazil. But now getting to the question, and sorry, the last one is being able to be to provide trust in all the stakeholders from people that will share the data with you, so you can analyze the credit or the potential the potential, and also the liquidity providers that will know that you like the money is going to the right place and be using as it should. But now about the potential, I think like a very good way to shorten. I'm not sure it's not the best word, but like to get the poor less poor and closer to the rich people is being able to provide them with yield that they wouldn't be able to get unless they have like huge amounts of capital. And I think that's one thing that we do want to see along the way is like regular people being able to get good yields on credit that's normally reserved to very wealthy people. And also on the other side to provide credit for small folks that as you mentioned, they don't have like a credit score, you don't understand them very well yet, and be able to provide credit to them and tools that would be able to make them easier on the growth side. And it might be like a new camera, paying for the internet, or having a better internet connection, or a big podcast studio, or even funding a tour or a new movie. I think that's where we want to go. Like on one side, giving good yield to the regular folk. On the other side, giving credit to people that never had credit, and that they don't have like the money trail yet to be able to get credit, and also let more people be part of exponential growth opportunities in that landscape. Does it make
Yeah,
sense? I'm not sure
it's
if I
no,
fully
no, no, it's perfect.
answered you.
No, no, it's perfect. And honestly, you touch point in a very specific point that I usually I like to uh bring is that Latin America as a whole is not, let's say, I wouldn't even say they're not educated. They just don't understand how credit score works, because this is normal. It's quite normal in the U.S. You're building up credit, and we don't have this culture. That what is a shame, because it changes people's lives. Look, you have the opportunity to start your own business, and plays a huge role in that. Of course, for who is lending money is also important, that to know that their money is going to be invested in the right places. And we were lacking that structure in the past. And now with blockchain, we all know, like, we have increased transparency, but we can also see the flux of money. So we can probably touch point on the aspects of the technology. Technology is still, let's say, sometimes I like to make a paragon and compare. We are still in the garages of a new web, like in the same way the dot-com bubble. We had we had like thousands of businesses that didn't thrive, but we had companies like Amazon, uh, like Google and Yahoo, and they were all like one day so small, and no one would ever think they would go and become the behemoths that they became. And now we're living that phase again. We just want to make sure now that instead of we have these gigantic corporations, and people are not people consume a lot, but they don't get enough, or like a lot in return. In a sense, like, they're not real stakeholders. Yeah, in Web3, we bring that notion that you're contributing to something, you're using, you're consuming, but you're also getting, let's say, your fair share of rewards in return. So, how do you see the understanding of people, not only in Brazil but in Latin America, about technology, and what kind of gap we have to bridge in regards to the technology adoption and understanding?
Perfect. I think not only, I wouldn't say only in Brazil, or like Web3 as a whole, we still lack in my opinion, of course, the ability to fully communicate on an easy way the value proposition that we bring with decentralization, etc., to the overall, like, normal person. Um, so I think we have to step that up, to be honest, like, to tackle on a bigger scale of users, and that relates to the answer of the question, which is, I don't think, I think that, like, the way to solve the UX problem with blockchain, and to really bring more people, which is like a UX problem, is to forget about trying to communicate the infrastructure, and just use the infrastructure to achieve the end goal. Like, you don't have to explain someone that if he puts money on here, and he'll be rewarded, and LP reward that goes to them. It's like, just, if you put your money here, you get part of that, which is using your money to grow. Like, that's pretty easy, like, it's pretty easy concept. Or if you spend your money with this protocol instead of using this traditional like big tech, you are getting rewarded part of the business and get the profits of it. Like, so it's kind of like a two-way street where we do have to get better at not only communicating but designing tokenomics, designing the distributed systems that will make it easier to comprehend the value, but also to make the infrastructure easy to use and invisible to the common folk. So I think that's at least that's where we are focusing here. Like I don't want to try to have to explain or to give like 100 steps to do something. Just put your money here, you're lending to a group of people, that group of people will pay back and you get a part of it. And depending on the model, you can get part of the result of the work they done, not only the interest that your money generated. So kind of like just making it simpler to use and simpler to understand is I think the main challenge here.
Amazing. Yeah, I do agree with you, and I think we got to the point that we had enough awareness from the market as a whole. Crypto had, let's say, been a buzzword for, let's say, at least 4 years in the mainstream media. But I think it's time for us to come with tangible solutions, and that also gets back to the point that it just has to be simple and solves one issue, I would say. If you do that well, you will be well accepted by the market. And having an easy to use UI and UX, of course, it changes everything. Okay, I'll probably shift the conversation towards a different direction now, but I think it's also important because your solution, the protocol that you're coming up with, Dux, is empowering people to work as collective, but we know the human nature, and the same way we have been cooperating with each others to build stuff, we are always very individuals as well. Everyone have their own personality, their own pace of work, and I believe decentralization plays a huge role in letting people do their own thing. Some people like to get together and like achieve bigger goals, but some of them they like to work alone. And with blockchain-based protocols, we allow people to work again like together, but asynchronously. So in that sense, cooperativism in the digital era, that's a movement that I'm huge fan. We wrote a newsletter on that on the last edition, and how this protocol that you're developing will help people again to bridge people to work together, even if they're not like directly working together. Because when they're using the same protocol, they're sharing resources, they're sharing the same technology in a certain way. They are working together without even knowing. So, how do you see the cooperativism playing in that sense?
I think it's a matter of like optimized game theory when you think about it, because as you mentioned, like every individual wants to take to have a outcome that will be favorable to them. Like that's nature of the human being. Like if I'm doing something, I expect something back, at least most of the times, or should I think so. And to be able to design systems where everyone can get what they're looking for, but in the process of getting what they're looking for, you are also making the network more stable, better, faster, more profitable, like enhancing the results of the other stakeholders. Like I think absolute best example of that is Bitcoin, which mastered the game theory design, which is like you can either be a validator or you can run your ASIC and mine Bitcoin, and you can store value and you can trade it. But either way, anything that you do, you're interested in keeping the network safe, because otherwise you won't be able to perform that action and have the result depend like either the result. So I think that's the question. goes a lot to my mind. How can you create a system where everybody can get what they want individually, but through getting what they want, they are helping other people getting what they want. Not necessarily wanting to do that and being required to do that, but like as a design, you know. I don't have the answer to that, but I think being able to program the internet, like to set in stone or uh, set in stone the rules and revising the rules and be able to easily see how the value go across the system is a good tool for us to make better systems as a whole. And I think blockchain fails still to get like optimal results out of that, but we're daily understanding and enhancing that uh, continuously. And I think that's the way to go, you know, like it's a long-term game.
Now, when I think about the internet, we are now talking about the evolution of the internet with Web3. Of course, Web3 doesn't exist. We're building it, but we're not only building it in a network level. To be honest, I don't believe we're building a new internet on a network level at all. We are building on a protocol level because we'll need to try and see which configuration of rules are better. And protocols do that right because we have Ethereum, which is like say the main net, but then you have protocols built on top of it. And for every protocol, you will have different issues. So some products they are completely relevant. I won't name them, but they'll say like they're not solving anyone issues. And it's good because you can try. The good thing about blockchains network is because it allows people for rapid experimentation. That's fine. The good thing is you won't have to get a lot of money to open like let's say a physical establishment, and then the business fails, and then you have to fire everyone with a layout. Now you can do everything digitally, and if it doesn't work, you can pivot in something else. And I think it's becoming like more like a sandbox box for policies as well. And the most amazing thing is you can program this in here. So once again, you can try different sets of rules and see which one of them work. I believe what you're bringing with your protocol, it's amazing. I do believe in it as solving like a real world issue, which is I think the most important thing most protocols should be thinking on. And well, thinking about like people working together, as I mentioned, individually, everyone wants to take their own fair share of their reward. But even Bitcoin, sometimes we have the whales and people taking the profit, selling it off, getting dollars, like applying the profits in something else. But then once something else, let's say, goes to their all-time high, they sell it again and bring it back to Bitcoin. They're strengthening their own Bitcoin network, meaning uh, the networks they're becoming in a certain way. I could call them network state, but I would rather call them network societies in the sense that, like, you use Bitcoin, even if you sell your Bitcoin for whatever token, at a certain point, most of them then they return with a profit, and that strengthens their own Bitcoin network. So I believe again, countries, nations, organizations will be built upon blockchain. And again, no one has to tell you what you're gonna do with your reward. Sometimes you might find better opportunities to, let's say, to double that profit, and at the end of the day, bring it back to the network. So I believe not only networks will play in that sense, but also protocol. Luis, we're heading to the end of the episode. It was super fast. It was an amazing talk, and of course, this kind of conversation goes super fast. But well, let's see. Like one last question for us to end this episode. So, what are your future predictions for? Of course, I want to talk about Web3 and blockchain industry as a whole, but for especially for Latin America and Global South? What do you envision? What do you like to see for those regions when it comes to the emerging technologies such as blockchain and AI, especially?
I think what I can state is that Brazil, especially, has everything we need to be a global power regarding blockchain. Like we have a central bank that's experimenting on blockchain in ways that like a lot of startups aren't able to do. Like they're looking way ahead. They're getting way more connected to big banks and institutions. We have like a CVM, which is our regulator here for the financial markets. Getting very straightforward and in a way that's not killing innovation. We have very good engineers. We have very good, like a lot of problems to be solved. So I'm very bullish in the landscape, the blockchain and AI and new emerging technologies in Latin and Brazil, especially in the years to come. I think I'm seeing more and more great people not only building here, but also being part of global projects, global protocols, putting their attentions here in Latin and Brazil. I think now that we're in the verge of like having the United States lower their interest base, we should see a lot of capital being able to flow to emerging economies such as ours. That's bullish. That's like more money for us to work, and I see the like in the tech entrepreneurship, the VCs, the agents of the market as a whole, they are getting more and more mature in being able to better deal with money, with problems, and with talent. And yeah, so I'm very bullish, and I think Brazil will be amongst the biggest countries, like the barn house for development in blockchain and AI. I think so.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. And look, it's one of the biggest economies in the world. I don't think anyone doubts that. Of course, we've been through some technology revolutions throughout the world, and including blockchain and AI. Not only that, but we're talking about cloud systems, IoT, 5G, cellulize. So all of this combined can provide Brazil with the tools for them to get into a digital leap, let's say, into the future. And well, Luis, it was amazing to have you here with us today. I will leave you like just a small space. I know like you talk a lot about Dux and all, but if you want to mention anything in particular that you're about to launch, we only have 5 minutes left. But yeah, talk about also your social medias and let people know how they can find you. And that's it.
Thank you, Rick. It was a pleasure to be here with you. The time flew, and hope we can have this conversation, like pick up this conversation in the near future and analyze how things are going and catch up. So, and thank you everyone that's hearing this in the future to be here with us until now. So what Dux is planning, like we're not still getting liquidity coming from blockchain. We had some experiments, but most of the liquidity that we use on our daily operations are coming from regular funds. And we are now starting to scale up on the amount of money that we're getting coming from peer-to-peer and the regular investors. That's something that we're looking very forward to, and we're starting that off with some partners, and then like going to our own B2C faced product for say. So that's the news. We're also waiting for a certificate for like forgot the specific name, but like for the license to be issued, that we'll be able to like pretty much do everything that we're set to do in a regulatory fully regulated manner, which we're very looking forward to also, and also experimenting for a future to be able to develop like a token and like something to get in the middle of that ecosystem to be the main driver of that game theory that we spoke before. So I think that those are the new things. We're starting to announce some good partnerships and good developments. So just stick around if you're a creator, have someone in the creative economy that you want to boost. Shout out, send me a message. I'm Luiz OC, Louis Luizoc on Instagram, Luiz Octávio Gonçalves Neto on LinkedIn, and pretty much Dux's network are We Are Dux. Not hashtag. I forgot the name of that line, the line in the bottom, but in pretty much any social media. Now we don't get X anymore, so just pretty much Instagram, LinkedIn, and the other decentralized networks. So yeah, follow us there, and hope to see you all around, giving us feedback and letting us know how we can improve and what we can develop to be better, to better serve our purpose.
Well, thanks, Luis. This was one of the most, let's say, passionate conversation I had about a subject recently. And well, I hope we get another opportunity to talk about. Again, there's a lot for us to still to talk over. And so this is it for our episode of today. And we hope you see you on next week. Bye.